The CrunchCast is a podcast with game developers talking about games. You can check us out at crunchstudios.com. There you can find links to all the episodes via video or MP3 download, as well as links to our Facebook page, which is facebook.com/crunchcast. We also have a YouTube channel, Vimeo channel, an RSS feed link there to all the audio, and a link to a Polycount thread where there's been plenty of discussion about it. You can also follow us on Twitter at CrunchCast, and everybody that's on here pretty much has an account as well. So enjoy the show. Oh, that's no problem. We could just, focus, but hitting some buttons over here. We got a few seconds.
We can what, Chris?
Oh, I was just hitting some buttons. We got a few seconds before intro time.
Focus? What's that word?
I don't know. Okay, Bryan, stop breathing.
I'm sorry, I was nervous.
Hey everybody, this is episode 37 of the CrunchCast. We made it. I got everybody back together here. I'm Chris Holden, and across from me is Bryan McConnell. We're here in Denver.
Hello.
And also we have, via Google+, we've got John Jones.
Hi, everybody.
He does outsource management, and he used to do art, so he can still do it if he wants to.
I still do art.
We got Jesse Sosa, who's currently on the phone. and Lee back from last night, who's actually sharing his screen, so he's modeling right now, or you're in Unity and you're doing some effects or something.
Yeah,
Lee is a Taurus.
I'm trying to. Yeah, I made a little spinny thing that doesn't spin though.
Oh, damn it!
Cool story.
What kind of effects artist are you? You can't make a spinny thing spin.
It doesn't spin. So as we talked about last night, we're going to have this episode be about surviving a layoff. It was what we wanted to come back with, and of course, John, you've recently put up an article, right?
Indeed, I did. It's basically about how to take a look at your company's health and spot the signs of a layoff and know. Actually, it's more about how to spot the signs of a layoff and less about what you can actually do to prevent one. And I think that could be potentially a topic for tonight. Once you identify it, what the hell do you do?
Right on. You can find this article on johnjones.com, and also it was featured on Gamasutra.
Yes,
so aren't you
I'm an expert blogger there now. Yeah, I was on the front page actually for a day. I was pretty surprised.
That's awesome.
But
you win. So yeah, you're gonna have some pretty good insight for this episode. But generally, we'll share some anecdotes concerning layoffs that some of us have been through. Obviously, young Bryan has yet to fit. Whoa, what was that? That was just sounded like a crazy zipper going off, like taking flight.
So Jesse just sawed off the head of something.
Yeah.
And now he's back.
No, someone broke my blood rain statue apparently, and I'm quite pissed at that.
Damn it!
Oh, did you get a phone call about it, or?
Yeah, it was at my friend's house, and my friend that's coming up to visit me went to pick it up on his way up, and they just called me and said, "Hey, we broke one of the blades." And I was just
oh, weak.
Son of a bitch.
Dang. Why couldn't they save the bad news until they were in person? Like that seems like bad news that you got to deliver.
That you should do. What you do is when you first see and you go in for the hug, so your mouth is close to their ear, right at full hug to get the climax of the hug.
Yeah, exactly.
You say, "I broke your statue," and then they come out of the hug like this. What?
If it makes you feel any better, Jesse, somebody when I worked at Gearbox, a friend of mine broke my alien statue that cost like $60.
No.
Yeah, you can't have anything at work.
No.
Weak.
like this blood rain statue has been with me for almost my entire career, and it's number 200 of 200. I deliberately asked for the final run statue, and the thing retails now for I'd say about $600 to $800 because there's only 200 of them.
God dang it, dude! That really sucks. I'm sorry.
Neat, rare statue. Though.
Helped make it too. So
yeah, well, you were like pretty much the character guy back then, right?
yeah.
Was that when you went to that company? It was the character guy, the only one on Earth. No, sorry about that. So yeah, some basic ideas on surviving a layoff. I'm just gonna run down a few just basic, quick ideas here. Save your money if you got it. Try to save it, because
God, yes.
you never know when you're gonna need it.
Truth.
the thing about a layoff is you never know when it's going to come, so always have your portfolio ready. It could come instantly. So I mean, you could, if you're on a project, you probably don't have to worry about your portfolio while you're on that project. But if you can, once you pass that NDA sort of method, like the game's been released, so to speak, or you got some screenshots out, at least you can use the screenshots for your portfolio, if not actual assets. But hopefully you'll be able to have all that updated so you can show it off all the time.
It's really hard to do.
Yeah.
It's really hard to remember to do, especially if you're feeling, well, if you're like just face down into your work, doing your thing. It's hard to remember to kind of, keep in dating shape. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I felt like I kind of lost track on there, like I wasn't making the point I needed to make.
No, it's hard to remember to keep your portfolio updated, and I think I'd say even just like as a quarterly thing. It's like spring cleaning, but for your portfolio.
Oh,
just
sure.
do it,
Quarterly
like 4 times a year.
Back when we recently put out some screenshots of Nexus, I just tossed them in my portfolio because I figured, well, this is all my work and it's official, so I might as well just have it up here. And then those slots that I have are already set up and ready to go. I could just update those images for final stuff.
Everybody at GDC seemed to have. Everybody at GDC seemed to have an iPad, and I was actually
for their portfolios.
Yeah, I was actually thinking about getting something similar.
It seems like those are pretty good for portfolios.
Yeah,
I agree.
It was actually
especially
pretty cool to be able to flick through them and then play animations,
being able to flip through
video.
It. Oh, absolutely. Got the video, yeah.
Yeah, because
you're an animator, so obviously
it's
video
a great approach.
Yeah.
And see, something this is something not a lot of people talk about like publicly, but if you're working on a game where you can't legally like put your stuff online or really show it off, sort of kind of under the table, it's okay. A lot of people see it as being okay to show a picture of what it is, not say what it's for, what it's from, or give any context. If you don't have anything else you can possibly show, like if you have 4 years of work buried in something you can't show, I've seen this happen. And as long as you don't talk about it, as long as you don't put it on your website, as long as you don't leave them with a copy of it, like as an extreme case, I've seen that be okay. But it's all a matter of
interviews are strictly
showing how you respect that. Oh, exactly, exactly. Interviews. That's the thing.
Interviews are supposed to be confidential anyway, so you're not supposed to say. Well, actually, so if you do have some stuff that's unreleased, you
just say, this is unreleased and this is confidential work that I'm under NDA. I'm not allowed to show you this.
I'll tell people all the time. Look, just put it in there if you need a job. You got to have it.
Yeah.
It's your work.
It'd just be cool about like the speed at which you flip through it. Just like, this is on my folio, this is on my folio, there's some secret, this is on my folio.
Yeah.
I actually saw someone set up their website in such a way that he would deliver unique username and passwords to people, and then the front page, the secret URL or whatever, took you to a page that had a big NDA that basically said all the stuff beyond this is confidential by inputting this information. It's each record, whatever.
That's pretty cool.
It's just basically an NDA.
And it's blocked from anybody else, so yeah.
Yes.
Technically, that's not legally binding, though. I mean, it's a good effort, but keeping that stuff online, I know of a guy that got fired from a studio for somebody saw his portfolio, and I think it's like blah.com/images/whatever. That was not a protected directory, and they found a temp directory that had shit that was not supposed to be seen, and he got fired and outed on Kotaku. They found images of that. They linked to the guy's portfolio and put out his name publicly and got his ass fired.
That seems to happen all the time, where somebody will update their resume or they'll update their LinkedIn portfolio or not, profile with their job, and it'll be like, "Oh, I'm the new senior programmer on Call of Duty 7."
Yeah, Call of Duty Space.
Yeah, Call of Duty Space. Original name Characters Redemption, like a huge spoiler in the name.
The Call of Duty Space, the hero dies at the end.
Yeah, they always die.
Spoiler.
Spoiler alert: you're gonna die if you play Call of Duty at the end, or probably several times through the game as you play different characters. That's how they do every one of them. Every little mission is, oh, cool mission, and they shoot you in the head.
Well, Well, shit, that's great. I was waiting until they hit Call of Duty 10 to start playing them. Thanks, fucker.
That's pretty scary too. If you get fired because you broke NDA, who else is going to hire you because you already broke NDA?
It's a very slippery slope. Honestly, err on the side of respecting NDAs as much as humanly possible. I mean, like a certain point, like I said, if you have work locked up for 4 years, there are ways to be cool about it. And I mean, a guy's got to eat. I don't know. Honestly, this probably isn't something that should be talked about like that much publicly. I've seen a lot of stuff kind of behind the scenes. I don't want to advocate breaking NDAs because I won't. That's just bad policy. It's a really difficult subject. I wish we could tackle it. But
I've never had to. I've never been in that position myself. So.
Yeah, it is.
Because I always got laid off, and all my work was ready to show.
Do you guys want to talk about politics and religion too?
Whenever anybody brings up politics, I don't like talking about politics. Whenever anybody brings it up, I come up with like the most horrible, like political viewpoint possible. Like I believe in the eradication of the human race. I'm on that platform. I just try to fucking instantly end the conversation. Exactly.
You seen that episode of Squidbillies? Some alien comes to Earth. He's like, he was basically wants to kill everybody. He's like, death to humans or something. If I get, that's what he just always says, pretty much. I think something like that. And he runs for president on that platform and wins.
I would vote for that alien.
Yes.
But although just amusing anecdote, I know somebody that got laid off from a company that had a project that was never announced, and they described sort of the kind of stuff that they did. It was enough to infer what the project was, and all the people on that team they put a little bit of something in their LinkedIn, not to try and suss it out or anything, just like this is the kind of stuff they worked on, blah blah blah. They got picked up by Kotaku and a couple other news sites. They linked these people's LinkedIn pages directly and named them, and they were like calling out the game and shit. Just no. It's one of the reasons I fucking hate Kotaku, to tell you the truth.
Here's a whole bunch of info about Half-Life 3. Some crap like that.
Yeah. Like, I analyzed Gabe Newell's stool samples and was rifling through his garbage.
Gross.
Did I just imply that Gabe Newell poops in his trash can?
Yes. Well, that's a good point. It's really strong point about layoffs. Searching through people's garbage. No, not that.
Nice segue.
Yeah, I've been pretty lucky. The layoffs, most of the layoffs I've actually had, we got a severance.
Yeah, that's pretty cool.
If you don't really know, a severance is basically just money, like a bonus for firing you.
In some states, I think they have to give it to you. In other states, they sort of don't. There's a lot of weird gray area there. Like I found out, it's like Vigil laid off 79 people and let go 34 contractors. So 100 whatever the math on that is, like 113 people or something like that. They laid off all those people, but they're still technically employed because there's a thing called the Warren Act, where you have to give 60 days notice of a layoff if you have above X number of people. I think it's like 75 or 80 that are being affected and laid off. It's actually cheap, and so the people at Vigil, a lot of them are actually still technically employed for 2 months. Like they show up, they do everything, and they still get to accrue like PTO and vacation time, which will, by law, is paid out at the end. But it's actually cheaper for them to keep them on employed full time. That would be to adhere to whatever the rules of the Warren Act are and pay out a lot more money in order to be able to get them out of the building that day. That's a THQ thing. It's not a Vigil thing.
Sure.
But just it's a weird way to comply with the law, but it ended up kind of benefiting them in some way. It's very strange.
Sure. Oh,
it's not good for morale.
Well,
but
hey, here's the day, buddy. I knew guys that knew it was coming eventually within a few months at places.
We don't need you anymore.
And
See you Monday.
Well, they didn't have the exact day. They just knew it was going to happen. We all knew, it is going to happen. As soon as this game comes out, we got like a month. How long do we have? A month, a week, 2 months? Who knows? Could be 6. Could be a year. But I remember a guy, he had just all these vacation days saved up. So he just started taking every Friday off, using a vacation day for every Friday until we finally all got laid off.
It's not a bad idea. I was gonna...
unless you want the cash from it.
Yeah, you can.
Like
you
I had,
can get the payoff. Yeah.
I had
Sometimes.
I think 9 weeks of vacation and PTO saved up because I worked so fucking much at one layoff that I was in. So I got
That's
basically
a lot
2
of
months and a
time.
week worth of PTO paid out and 4 weeks severance.
Oh wow, that's pretty.
It seems really common that most people that I knew that if you're at a company that actually does that, most guys have a lot of vacation days because they just always work.
I had 149 vacation days. Or hours, sorry.
Oh,
Hours. Yeah, hours.
Sorry, no
The hours
vacation,
make it
sorry.
sound wicked cooler.
Yeah, yeah.
She's like, whoa, look at all these hours I got due.
But what's nice about UTV Ignition when they laid us off was they paid out all the hours, whereas another company that I worked for that I shall not name did not pay any hours out for when they laid me off.
It happens, man.
Well, in
that's a weird
Texas-
thing. You never know what
in
it's gonna
Texas
be.
by law, they have to pay out PTO. Most states are like this. I think there may be some exceptions, but that's actually a law.
Oh,
Like
okay.
you earn that vacation time by working there; they can't take it away.
Maybe I should sue that company then.
Neat.
It's possible.
I like your chalice you're using tonight, John. It's like a pent
I'm drinking a wonderful beer. The Sierra Nevada Optimum. Very hard to find beer, but it is excellent.
You're putting quite the scene together there with all your alcohol and prescription drug bottles in the background. It's like you put the two together and
Shit.
this is AIDS medication.
Edit that out.
He's clean, girls.
So
Of AIDS.
No, the medication is just to try and tamp down my inhuman virility.
Yeah. It's this pill the doctor gave me. It's called a placebo.
Sounds French. I
Yeah.
take it.
Sounds French. It's most sophisticated drugs from France.
so when you get a severance, about how long is that severance usually for? I guess there's probably no average. It always depends.
I think it all depends on the company. Usually the severance is based on the amount of time you worked at the company.
Okay.
Like for
Yes.
every, I forget if it. Oh God, I've heard so many different programs. It may be based on months or groups of months or years, whatever the amount of time. They have some way they antiquate it.
Yeah.
If that's the right use of antiquated. I don't know. Either way, it sounds fun. But yeah, I've had different severance of different sides. They usually are based on time, and when I always talk to the guys that have been in the company way longer, their severances are like, whoa.
Oh, nice.
I know a dude that was laid off after 7 years. It was either, like, when they found out the layoffs were going to come, he was basically either go look for a job and quit, or, well, okay, I'm going to rake in, like, 14 years of severance, you know? But the average severance I've seen, just like across all factors, across everything, is 4 weeks.
Okay.
Yeah, that's about it.
I've seen like 2 weeks on the low end. I know of one case of a company that violated that WARN Act I was telling you about. They laid off, I think, like 90 people with no notice. Basically, these people showed up at work and they said, "Okay, well, all of
The
you
doors
get
were
out.
locked.
No severance, no paid time off, no vacation, nothing." They broke a shitload of laws, and there's a lawsuit against that company right now. That is extremely rare. But
Oh yeah,
from
that's
what
an
I've seen and
extreme
heard,
case.
about 4 weeks of just pure severance, not counting vacation time and PTO.
That seems pretty reasonable.
Yeah, the weird
It's
thing
not-
about
it's-
small
it's not
companies is you could just go into work one day, the doors are locked, and the building is empty.
Dude, Acclaim Austin. Dude, okay, so they ran out of money. They stopped paying rent. And Acclaim themselves got locked out of their own company because their property management was basically foreclosing upon them. People had their car keys, their food, personal items, all their personal shit locked in the building, and a lot of them didn't even get it back. Eventually, after quite a while, some people
Well,
did.
that
but
banana
apparently
only
so
lasts
many
a few
people-
days.
Well, so many people had so much food there, like the place was a biohazard by the time it got unlocked, and some people got to get in to get their shit. Like
Oh,
those
that
house
stunk.
keys were left in there. Oh yeah, this is Acclaim Austin. This is a few years ago. That's one of the worst stories I've ever heard.
It's
Actually,
like if you got a bunch of fresh fruit and stuff sitting around your house, and you're go on a trip and forget about it, come back. Oh, there was a bowl full of water in the sink. Oh, I own a cat. Oh.
I owned a cat.
Yeah.
I owned a cat, yes. Yeah, I have sometimes it could be, I would say the best things ever to come out of a layoff. Like the best layoff results that I've ever seen was like, again, a nice severance, pay. I think one place I got laid off actually kept paying for another month or two, and our benefits last. Like our benefits kept going for another 6 months until the actual like renewal for the benefits had to be done. It just
That's
kept
amazing.
on going.
Oh, that's pretty cool.
And we got well, Mythic, when they laid us off, we all got all of our accounts for all the games forever for free.
Oh, cool.
They just gave that to us. That was pretty cool.
I got that from 2K, like when we signed on. Then a couple months ago, after 2.5 years after they laid us off, 2K suddenly revoked all of them. Just no reason, no notification, no warning.
I always expect that to just happen at some point, but
it's one of the reasons. Well, I was displeased.
It's not like I'm playing Warhammer too much anymore, but it would always be cool to be able to log in and check out my character. Look at this character, dope. And then log off.
Yeah.
Join the city, see who's in. If anybody remembers me.
You think they'd have like a special dev list or something?
Well, you can't really do that with a game.
I suppose.
Because the first thing people are going to do is say, you're a cheater.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. That's one of the downsides of going on. And like some places will prohibit you from saying that you're a developer. Whereas like at Alphonic, we kind of encourage it with Nexus because
we're able to help people out with the game.
Well,
as well as...
it's just part of being involved in the community, but isn't it like if they kill us, they get an achievement unlock? There's a developer kill or something like that?
There's one achievement called Killphonic.
Yeah.
Oh, but I expect to see you in the PC version from my free kill.
Yeah, I'll definitely log on.
It's gonna be one of those ones that spreads like AIDS because you get it if you kill a developer, but you also get it if you kill someone who's killed
a developer.
Yeah.
So if you interact with an Ilphonic developer, you get AIDS.
It's basically an STD.
Yeah.
It's a viral STD.
Yeah, it just goes down the chain. It can go on for generations and generations.
That's pretty sweet, though.
Yeah, it's fun stuff.
I think didn't Rockstar do that with one of their games?
I'm sure
there's a bunch of games that have done that.
Yeah, Grand Theft Auto did that.
Oh, there you go.
Yeah, okay.
Cool.
So, yeah, we stole their idea.
You might say the idea was viral.
Nice.
You did it.
Wow.
Good job.
Somebody had to. Come on. And on that note, beer number 2.
All right, cool. So that's pretty good layoff stories, I would say. You know, the weird thing about it, even with some of those where the layoff was the result was actually pretty nice, there's always people that are really upset. Like, especially if it's your first time at a job and you get laid off, or maybe you've been there a long time and you don't know what to do. Or you got maybe you have a family there and you're really invested in the area, but this is really the only company in the area. These things could be a bit more stressful. Obviously, the nomadic developer is usually the safest. Like somebody, you don't own a whole bunch of stuff. John's really got into that minimalism of lifestyle. As you can see, his bare walls behind him, just like my bare walls. The only thing you can see here is a bike, a TV, a fan, and what is that, a computer box? No, it's a computer chair box. Yeah.
I wish I could be one of those people that could just have my life in a suitcase.
It would be pretty cool.
But instead, I have my life in a...
Or what if you just lived in a mobile home? Or like a camper or
That'd
something.
be pretty cool.
A caravan.
I do have a minivan, and that's awesome.
You pretty much live out of that.
I love...
When you open the doors to Bryan's van, you just get like hit in the face with sports.
Yeah.
Like, good Lord, look at all the sports in here. There's like footballs and frisbees and jerseys and cleats.
It's true, too.
It's totally just full of
I
stuff.
counted 5 gallons of water in there.
Oh my god.
Yeah. Because I'll buy a gallon of water and then just throw the gallon in the bag.
Bryan likes to roll up to a park and just pop the back, and it's just hey guys, what do you guys want to do? I got all of the activities.
Yeah, exactly.
There might even be a Monopoly board or something in there.
There's a chess set.
Yeah. I knew there was something.
Like, hey, you want to play Twister?
Bryan's a party.
Oh, Twister. That's not a
get
bad
that.
idea, dude.
It's perfect for taking that down to the park.
John, that's probably the best idea I've heard ever.
Because you go down to the park, here in the summertime, everybody there is in amazing shape.
Oh yeah.
Because it's Colorado, you can't go to the park and run around and do stuff without instantly dropping 20 pounds and getting shredded, apparently.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah.
Well, shit, I'm moving to Colorado.
Bikinis and sweaty. Yeah, get out here and just start biking. Dude, I took my swimming suit with me down to Orlando because I'm like, I'm going to swim. It's Orlando, get the pool. And I haven't put it on since last year. You know, I dropped a bit of weight from, just biking and stuff. It was way too big.
Oh, wow.
I remember it being tight. And the thing wouldn't stay on. It would like drop. I pull it up and it would just drop straight down to that point where, like where your dick sticks out.
Yeah.
And it just stops it. And I was like, oh man, it's dangerous.
Nice.
But
so that's the story of how Chris had to wear a belt with his swim trunks at Disney World.
No, I just held it up. It was fine.
But
you're
look
waiting in
like
the pool, it doesn't.
straight up gangsta.
Yeah, it was only like a 4-foot pool, so you're not diving in.
I'm gonna get a pair of
But a
this.
4-foot pool, like as tall as you are, it's just like your dick line hanging right above the surface of the water, walking around.
You wade. You gotta wade right there. Go deep. And none of this has anything to do with laying off, but
Well, you can lay off that.
one of the things that I just wanted to get that go right over that. We were talking about right as you walked away was that kind of minimalistic lifestyle, and I know you're the nomadic developer.
Yep.
I know you're kind of into that. I remember plenty of times you told me like, "Oh, I just threw away everything I own. Oh, I feel great."
Yeah.
I felt 8 dumpsters of shit once.
Damn.
Then I found out about Goodwill and felt bad.
Yeah,
That's the best thing is Goodwill. You take your stuff and just drop it off. I think
That reminds me of an awesome joke you made a really long time ago when we were talking. Like, your country's so weak you could be beaten by our Salvation Army.
Salvation Army. That's not bad.
Just get enough of them, it's like a sonic attack.
See, I'm thinking about just saying fuck it and just taking a whole bunch of pictures of all my shit and just throwing a whole bunch of ads on Craigslist and just having it.
Oh, everything's
selling.
constantly for sale.
Yeah.
Like your life is a store, and just if somebody wants to buy it, sweet.
Yeah.
Dude, I made a fair bit of money just selling my stuff on Craigslist. If you can take, like, my secret was just take really good photographs of it, kind of tweak the lighting, just make it look
It makes
like
it look
a
really
decent
nice.
pro style photo, and then funny copy. Like, I sold like this really average black office chair, and I was saying like it's black and sleek and suitable for ninjas. It was just some bullshit. But some guy went out of his way to come over to my place and spend $20 more than he had any right to buy this chair. If you can write something funny, and Bryan, I know you can. If you can write something funny with it, you can sell.
You know who's the best at that? It's Tracy.
Tracy,
Did you ever see his ads?
I imagine he would be.
No, my God, I bet he's a genius at it.
Oh my God. Tracy
We need
Hunt,
to
who was
get
on
him
one of our
back on
previous episodes a little while back, especially back at Mythic when I worked with him, it was very common. Like, it was a company culture that people would write like a company-wide email if they had something for sale, and it was usually like, "Oh, I got a bunch of games. Come to my desk, and you could get awesome games for super cheap or whatever." But Tracy would write these ridiculous. He would just talk about how awesome it was and how awesome he was and how awesome you're gonna be now because you have this, or like something, like that's your basic premise.
Yeah.
Or he'd have these ridiculous things that he would always write up. He'd be like, "Hey, there's this camera. Wow, you should buy this. Holy shit!" Like a lot of those memes you see these days. Like, it's got more popular on the internet now. Or I think it started with that. "Hey, look at this dog. Remember his name is Xerxes.
Yeah.
Look at how badass this dog is." It's an old meme now.
Like, have you seen this dog? Because he is motherfucking
That's the
badass.
one.
Yeah.
I saw another one recently. It's like a photo of a pigeon. Like have you seen this bird? Because they're fucking everywhere.
God, pigeons are disgusting. They're everywhere.
Oh, there's,
I don't know about
remember,
Austin,
like,
but in Denver, man, they're everywhere.
Dude, when I was in Portland, I gained a whole new respect for pigeons because they're so integrated with the populace. Like, they wouldn't even fly; they just walk. I
Yeah.
actually saw one wait with me at a crosswalk, wait for it to turn on, walk to the other side, then turn to the side street and wait for that to turn, and then walk because he didn't want to fucking fly.
The pigeons are so lazy.
Oh man.
Yeah, I've seen pigeons do a lot
It
of
sounds like a
wacky shit.
really weak opening for like a wants to be racist stand-up comedy routine. Man, pigeon's so lazy.
They use a crosswalk.
So layoffs.
Yeah. So yeah, we did the minimalist lifestyle thing because that's really good for. It's a good tip for it, but I mean, you don't really necessarily have to do it.
Yeah.
I mean, especially when they send out a moving truck for you when that big 18-wheeler rolls up that's expecting a whole house full of stuff. You're like, I got a mattress and a desk.
Yeah.
No, okay, no problem. This is great.
And a massive television.
Yeah. A huge television, a huge computer tower.
Dude, like Tracy, when I my living
Oh,
right
that
next to me,
giant
2 doors
box
down.
he had.
Oh my god,
The TV
it was like
monstrous, but it was on
it was
wheels.
like the first. It's like the
Light.
first 52-inch TV, a bed, a couch, and a massive computer.
Yeah.
I mean, that's so like minimalist game developer.
Living the life.
Like my place. I mean, now like after I like downsized everything, I didn't have a bed for 8 months.
Did you need it?
Not really.
It's pretty comfortable though.
I want to get rid of my bed just because it's so comfortable. My bed is so comfortable. I just want to sleep forever. I don't ever want to get up. It sucks. But
That's just how you are, man.
I know. I'm
The floor,
you
you'll
wanna
be
sleep?
the same way on the floor.
Brian, you want to sleep forever? Do you want to talk?
Oh yeah, I get it. Suicide. Nah, it's summertime. Nobody commits suicide in the summertime. Well, it's coming up summer.
Oh yeah, no kidding. I'll
You
wait.
gotta- you gotta
I'll
wait
wait
for the
till
winter.
I'll wait till Monday in late fall.
Sunday.
Sunday.
Sunday on Christmas.
Oh, Christmas.
That's the most deaths ever.
Actually, yeah, more people commit suicide on Christmas than any other day of the year.
Yeah, and for some reason Sundays because work sucks for a lot of people.
Speaking of
True.
layoffs, don't resort to
Yeah.
suicide.
Suicide isn't the answer.
That's like a
Oh,
last resort.
That is one way to save your company money, but no one needs to be that
Well, no
loyal.
severance for this guy.
Also, you should talk maybe.
You should be laughing about
You
this.
should talk about how if you feel the layoff is coming. Like I felt the layoff was coming at UTV almost 2 months in advance because things were not going kind of weird there, and it was like time to back up stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Everybody
Yeah.
should always keep all their work backed up.
Yeah.
Like I know a guy that worked at a company for like 6 years.
Back it
They
up.
got laid off, and he didn't back up his stuff, and they wouldn't let him have anything he'd done. So he had like this like really low end last gen stuff, and took him like a year to find a job. He gave them like 6 or 7 years of his life, and they wouldn't give him his work. Not even
Yeah.
for a portfolio, for released games.
This is kind of a touchy subject too, but I was going to ask: would you recommend stealing your own work from work every once in a while?
I don't think it's technically stealing. I think I don't know the exact laws, but I mean technically all the work you do for your company is legally owned by your company. But I believe that there is some segment of the law, or at least a very standard kind of gentleman's agreement kind of thing, where you can show off your work for the purposes of a portfolio, as long as it's not like completely destroying an NDA or something like that.
Yeah.
That being said, one of the companies I worked for, I'm contractually forbidden from ever naming the game, ever talking about the game, ever showing anybody anything I ever did for the game, or anything, or I could be sued to death forever.
So what's this game?
It was John Deere Tractor Hunter. Oh fuck!
John Deere Tractor Hunter.
Sounds like an amazing game. I have to get that game now.
I almost wish I'd worked on that instead.
You're just riding around a tractor at night, spotlighting deer, right?
No, you hunt tractors.
Oh, you hunt tractors. That's pretty cool, dude. Anyway.
Yeah,
Only
just
John
it was
Deere
Sarah Palin
tractors.
style from a helicopter.
Sarah shooting wolves, bro.
It's like no, it's a caterpillar. Don't shoot. John Deere, kill it. It was funded by Caterpillar.
Oh yeah. I had to think about that for a second because I remember I initially thought of an actual caterpillar. Something that's gonna make a cocoon and turn into a butterfly.
They're very easy to mistake for tractors.
I didn't think about the brand. Or is it a brand or is it an actual name? for the machine?
It's a company and a brand.
Caterpillar. Look it up. Make some crazy things.
Like, dude, the reason I know that was because when we were working on Gore at 40 Rulers way back in the day, when I was looking for cool tech stuff to do, I downloaded every single picture Caterpillar
I
had on
remember
the
I
website.
still have all those reference images too.
That shit was fun.
It's always cool to look at. If you can't get any good ideas for a sweet mech, or you're just gonna make some sort of robot or like some kind of mech, some kind of power armor or whatever, just look up the latest tech and these machines they have. They're just
tractors, road machines. I mean,
this construction equipment and stuff. It's incredible. It looks like everything they make now looks futuristic.
Oh, it's incredible. It's amazing. And dude, Lamborghini started out making tractors. They were a tractor company.
There you go.
And now they make cars for douchebags.
Hey man, I'm going to drive a Lamborghini soon.
No,
that's cool.
The Lamborghini Countach is actually one of my favorite vehicles of all time. I had a little remote control when I was a kid. I still want one.
I think everybody as a kid has a poster of a Lamborghini on their wall, right?
By law, yes, in America.
And you can also rent a Lamborghini on the Groupon.
Nice. I guess some kids like Ferraris and stuff too. So.
Well, they grew up wrong. Lamborghinis are where it's at. So layoffs.
Yeah. Well, we talked about good layoff stories. I was kind of, I guess we didn't go into it at all. I was going to say some bad layoff stuff. Like, obviously we said the best and like, hey, here's severance and more pay and benefits that could still happen and
rainbows
and explosions and rainbows.
Hey now.
Plug.
You got to do it as much as you can.
.com.
There's a dash in there too, I think, which is really annoying.
I'm registering them on without dashes now, and I'm gonna sell it to Lee for exorbitant amounts of money.
That's a great idea. I like that.
Hit him hard too. Hit him hard like right after he's laid off. How much severance you get? Oh, that's how much I'm selling this for.
What a strange coincidence.
Wow, how did I just link this back?
Amazing.
Beautiful. Yeah. So I guess go ahead.
Sorry, go ahead.
I said the worst layoff was basically, we're out of money. Bye.
Yeah. Sounds pretty bad.
And that was just pretty much it. Like, okay, well, we're done with the game. Nothing else to do here. Get out.
Yep.
Okay.
When I was at one company, they just showed up one day, like they flew out from California to show up at our studio and said, hey, come over here into this room. Then they had an IT guy go lock down all of our computers, they didn't give us anything back off our computers, even though they promised it. And then I found out later that they're logging into all of my IM accounts.
Oh, God.
Yeah, they logged into all of my fucking IM accounts and were going through all of my shit. That's why, that's one thing I'll say. Anytime you're laid off, change the passwords on everything you have immediately. Just search for secure password generator. There's one on like pccomputerworld.com. Is generate new passwords for everything you have. Go to LastPass, LASTPASS.com. I have like 100. I have a different password for every single thing I have on the entire fucking internet. They're like crazy 16-digit, virtually unbreakable passwords for everything. I have like a dozen layers of passwords for everything I have. But anytime you get laid off, change your passwords on everything. Don't trust them. Don't trust a fucking thing. Don't store anything important on your computer. I kept my important shit on Dropbox. So, like, whenever I'd go through a layoff, I'd just go home, change my Dropbox password, and I think there's some setting where you can, have it, like, remotely delete stuff. Or actually, no, what I did was I went home, I got everything in my Dropbox, cut, paste locally, then changed the password. So it's all off of Dropbox. It automatically syncs on that computer to delete everything. And it's all my local system. They can't log back into my Dropbox, and I can put it all back in.
You're a wild man. You're living on the frontier.
I also put log me in on all my machines, too, just in case.
Ooh, good idea. Very good idea. I should do that.
Oh, is that one of those remote login programs?
Yeah, you can take control of the computer.
Sick.
Oh, nice. I see.
I can do that for my. They have logged me in for the iPad. So technically, if I'd had that set up, I could have been like in the meeting where they're telling us that we're being shut down. Is remote log into my computer and delete everything from my iPad in the meeting.
Yeah.
We'll see.
That laugh you did at the end there. Like, I can do the meeting. You went evil science on us there or something like that.
I have so many security measures for everything I do. You have no idea.
One of my favorite programs for that is CCleaner.
Oh God!
Every time even on my home machine, when I'm done using it for this session I'm there, I run CCleaner, which will clear out all your logins. Like if you're logged into anything, it deletes all that internet stuff. So
You guys are really smart. The smartest thing.
Thanks, Bryan. I like you.
No, the smartest thing that I've ever done is I put my porn in a folder called "It's Not What You Think."
And that folder is on the desktop.
Yeah.
So you can quickly drag images as you browse at work.
Well, whenever I'm using a portable hard drive that I use for other stuff, I have to share with other people. Like when I'm on site at a client, I always have a directory called "Unforgivable Porn" and one image in it.
Is there actually anything in there? Is it like what you do on social media where you say, "Guy got his arm caught in a combine," or "Baby falls into hay baler"? You know, it'll be a link. It'll be a link to like the cutest puppy with a like in a more cute situation, like a kitten wearing a hat. You know, it'll be more than just a cute animal. It'll be like a baby sloth wearing a hoodie. You know, it'll be ridiculously cute.
Dude, I love doing that shit. I've slowed down, but I have a list full of all the new ones I'm going to use eventually. Like one of my favorites I used was baby stroller falls down the world's longest flight of stairs. One I haven't used yet. Not many people from my friends list are going to see this, fortunately. But one I've been waiting to use. I have to find the right picture. Is baby bear clogs pool drain.
Oh no! Oh no!
This is ridiculous.
Anyway,
You guys.
But shit like that, yeah.
So layoff horror stories. I can't really think of. Like I think really the worst thing about layoffs is unpreparedness. The worst is going to be, besides the company just saying bye and not giving you anything, which is, well, that's pretty shitty.
Yeah.
But besides that, anything else that comes from it is really put on by yourself and the way you react to it, and the way you respond to it is really a bigger part of the story. I mean,
Yeah.
I've had it before where I was at a place, I got laid off, and I was just like, all right, cool, whatever. Like, no, it was like another day at the job. No big deal.
yeah.
And there were a few of the other guys, it was their first job, and they were just, like this one guy in particular, he was kind of like, you know, he was worried. He just didn't know what to do. He just didn't know how to handle it. Like, what do I do now? Because he just went right from school, graduated, got hired, and was there for a while, and then layoffs. So, yeah, it's first time for him. And I was like, oh, yeah, don't worry about it. No big deal. Let's just get your portfolio together here. I got the game right here on my home PC. And I just got a new rocking PC that was built, so I could do the big full-screen images and stuff, and his home machine was crap. Because that's what gets a lot of people is when their home machine isn't that great, and they can't take their pictures of their stuff.
Yeah.
I've had to do that for a lot of people. I'll get their renders together for them, like help them out with that. If you can do that, if you can help them out, especially on this one game, I was like, oh yeah, I know what this person did. I know where it was in the game, so I could just go right to it, and yeah, really useful.
Yeah, just be ready. Like honestly, like quarterly, update your portfolio quarterly. Just take the time.
Such a good point. Yeah.
I think, that's the only healthy thing to do. One other thing that I see a lot of people, things I see people not doing. One of them is wow, I completely blanked.
I do this
one
all
thing
the
is like,
time.
if your game's been announced for like 4 or 5 years and hasn't been in development for several years and it's never been announced, you're first in the chopping block. Just shit like that. Just not really knowing, just having just irrational faith in the whole thing. Just thinking like, oh, we'll eventually be announced, or this will happen, or that'll happen. Like if your game's been in development for 5 years and they've clearly sunk a lot of money into it, you have like 50, 100 people on the project, and it doesn't seem like it's going anywhere, that's probably a sign there's going to be a layoff coming up. Yeah. A lot of people don't fucking think about that.
I always hold the stance that you have to trust your leads and stuff, but I'll tell every single one, I'm like, yeah, man, that sounds great, but I always hold that I believe it when I see it. Like, yeah. Until the money is in my hand, I never assume it's coming to me.
Yeah, and they will never tell you there's a layoff until there's a layoff.
Oh, yeah,
they will lie.
Great.
They always lie.
Everybody, no, all of you guys are getting raises. They're getting laid off.
Yeah. Yeah, they'll do that. There's literally no reason your employer will ever be honest to you about a layoff. Never. Unless it's just like, conversation at a bar or something. No one will ever tell you the truth about that.
I don't need
Never believe them. Just, I mean, like some things I look for. Look at your company's stock price, like THQ. I worked at Vigil for 6 months, and I already saw the problems. But the past several months, I mean, their stock price dropped like 46 cents a share, which just go to like finance.google.com. Look at your publisher's stock price. If they're under $1, they're at risk of being delisted from the stock market, which is a really fucking bad thing. Like if they're worth almost nothing on paper, if they're making tons of losses, then your studio may very well be in trouble. Look at the other developers that are published by your publisher. Is anything of theirs competing with you? Are you releasing in the same window? Do any of their products look more promising than yours? Look at all of them and ask yourself a really hard question: which studio should be cut? Because as loyal as you want to feel toward your company, as loyal as you feel they're going to be toward you, if they don't have enough money in the bank account to pay you, something's got to happen.
Exactly. The loyalty thing, there's really more to the people that you work with, I would say. Because even though you're going to work with people that you're going to, I want to work with this person again. And that's kind of how the industry works. You end up working for a lot of the same people all the time. So it's really more them because, again, the way you put it there, it's obvious that loyalty doesn't really matter because no matter how great the company is, if there's a publisher above them that's controlling their money, if they can't afford to keep the people they had, it's just a matter of numbers, like you said. Exactly, it's just numbers, and it's nothing they can do about it. They would want to have you there, but they just don't have any money.
Yeah, and your company could love you more than any other person on earth, but they can't pay you with money they don't have, and they got to look out for themselves first.
So it's an unfortunate business thing, but we deal with it.
You just got to be realistic about it. Just look at your publisher's stock price and learn how to read a financial statement. Do they make massive losses this quarter? Like every quarter, they'll release something saying, okay, this is what we expect to make the next quarter. Here's what we made the last quarter. Here's what we thought we'd make the last quarter. We either made, like we say the same, we made crazy money, or we lost a shitload of money. And just look for patterns. Just like, is your publisher always really, really, really positive and hopeful? Like, oh, this game's going to sell, 10 million copies. And, we have faith in the product whenever there's like news about it being, maybe, what's going on. And then after it's out, there will be releasing. Well, the product's sales fell short of our expectations. Then, in order to cut costs after disappointing sales, we had to lay off, blah, blah, blah. Like, look for those patterns. Like, for their big blockbuster games, did the shit that they said actually pan out? How did they react to it before, during, and after? And then what happened after? Like, everything is cyclical. Just look back at a history. Really, it does not take that much effort.
Yeah,
and it's worth it.
Just look at when companies make layoffs at that point in time in the year, and it trends. Not like every company always lays off everybody and like say, oh, in November these guys always cut 1,000 people or something like that.
Well, a lot of layoffs are tied.
Go ahead.
A lot of layoffs are tied to quarterly reports.
Right.
And
it can be that black and white.
Yeah, EA is notorious for this. Like
exactly.
I think end of March, early April is when their financial year ends. Their financial year ends. That's usually when they cut people. Like every quarter, where they're legally required to disclose to their stockholders how well they're doing with money, is usually when they lay people off because they want to look like they're cutting costs, like they're still worth investing in, like their stock is still worth something. That's usually when people get laid off. If nothing else, pay attention every quarter.
Mm-hmm.
And that's why you should update your portfolio every quarter.
Yay! It seems like a lot of publishers will work under that head count per studio kind of thing, and say this studio can only have this many people, and they'll raise or lower the number. They'll raise the number when they want to hire. They'll lower the number when they want to lay people off. When they just lower the number, they go, okay, you got to drop the head count by this many, and just throw a number at a studio.
Yep.
So it's like I said, it's really black and white. So, not a lot of personal stuff in there.
Yeah, I mean, a lot of the time, sometimes it's just purely about cutting costs. Sometimes the names of people actually come straight from the publisher, and the developer does not have any say in it. Sometimes it's you need to cut X number of people or X number of dollars per month, and sometimes the most expensive people will get laid off. They have to make really hard choices.
Yeah. I've seen weird things where a publisher sends down, you've got to cut one person from, like, say, the character team, or one person from the programming team, like something like that.
Yeah,
And
it's not their
they might
fault.
nail the guy who just has a lot of experience or something, so he has a higher paycheck.
Yep. And it's not even their fault. It's not like
Yeah.
they're underperforming necessarily.
They're just saying, like, we didn't want to, but this is
Yeah. So
it's a numbers game.
This is gonna sound terrible, but like if you see somebody that got laid off that they should not have laid him off, that guy probably made the most money or pissed off the most people.
Yeah, it's one or the other usually.
It's brutal, and I'm half joking about it, but I mean that's a
Yeah,
reality.
it happens, man.
And I just remembered what I was going to say earlier. When you think a layoff is going to be coming, it's not a bad thing to apply for jobs at other companies before it happens. It's not a bad thing to apply for jobs at a lot of other companies and before it happens. Honestly, it really is a numbers game. Just apply for as many companies as you possibly can, and don't pay attention to whether or not they're hiring. If they have advertised positions, great, apply, do it. If they don't, apply anyway. I would say the most publicly posted job positions have already been in existence for 2 to 4 weeks, and they're trying to hire based on people. They'll float to the people at the company first, saying, "Hey, do you know anybody for this?" Then and only then will they put it on the actual website. So chances are, a lot of these companies won't even advertise job positions that are actually open. So you have nothing to lose by applying to these companies anyway. Maybe worst case they're not hiring, but maybe they could put your resume on file and call you again later. I've had this happen, but this is actually a pretty standard, pretty common thing. Just don't be afraid to apply for a bunch of companies, even if you think, okay, there's no way I'd want to work there. I don't like this or I don't like that. Don't make a decision whether or not you are going to work there until you actually have an offer in hand. Your mind could be changed. My mind has been changed in the past based on companies I'd written off but gave a chance anyway. At the very least, you're getting your portfolio out there, and you're getting your resume out there. Maybe you're getting really good interview experience, which can ultimately only benefit you. But maybe your mind will be changed on a company. But an opportunity is not an opportunity. You're not going to be able to make a decision whether or not to work for a company until you have an offer in hand, and you have nothing to lose by working all the way up to that point to learn as much as you can to make an informed decision. So don't be afraid to be slutty. Apply everywhere, even if they don't post that they're hiring. Go to GameDevMap.com. That's the most complete list of game companies on Earth, and just go there and just find cities you want to work in, and then just pepper all of them with your resume for jobs. And see, what's funny is I've been saying this for years. Maybe one person in 20 will actually do this. But I keep saying it, and still you're going to be in the minority of people who will actually be willing to take that kind of initiative. And you stand to lose nothing by it.
Well,
interview experience is important.
Think about how many kids go to school to be in a game job and how many of them actually get a game job.
Mm-hmm.
It all goes back to that one thing. You said it way back, but I know it's kind of an old saying. You can't win the marathon if you don't show up for the race.
Yep.
Something like that. That's might be better wording out there.
All you have to do is run just a couple steps further than the other guy. Just keep trying, keep trying, keep trying. You don't have to be the best; you just have to last the longest.
Yeah.
And
you got to show up. That's the point.
Yep. 90% of success is showing up.
Yeah, it's like the guy that every night he prayed to God to have him win the lottery. And one night, the sky's open and God spoke to him and he said, "If you want to win the lottery, you got to buy a ticket." You can dirty that joke up a little bit really easily.
Oh yeah.
Instead of God has just huge tits or something, or.
Well, I'll tell you later. It can get a lot darker really easily. Trust me. Just, use your imagination.
You have to buy a lottery ticket. AIDS.
A dead baby. Oh, now it's anti-humor.
Another dead baby joke.
God, what's wrong with you, John? You bring the best out.
I do what I can.
What would you guys say has been your longest time between jobs? I guess not necessarily laid off, but maybe for whatever reason you didn't. Yeah, you didn't have a job.
Mine was a year.
Oof.
Cool.
Yeah.
You beat me. I thought I had the longest.
No, I did lots of art tests. That's the sucky part about being laid off is doing art tests.
Yeah.
And
that
then
would suck to spend
doing
a
an
lot
art.
of time.
Yeah, I did one art test for I crunched for 4 days straight, and then never heard a word from them. And then eventually,
That's so common.
Yeah. And then eventually they got back to me, and you're like, "Oh, you didn't get the job." And I was like, "Wow, that's like 3 months later, and I already have a job." Yeah.
I hate when it's like weeks later and you're sending all these follow-ups and they're not even saying anything. It's like, come on, just say no.
Yeah.
Don't be a dick.
Well, they don't really necessarily gain anything by saying no. If they keep you, they'll try and find the best person they can, and then they don't want to say yes or no to somebody if they think they might have a better option. It sucks, but I mean that's the reality of it from that end. I think it's despicable.
It's a dating game, dude.
Yeah, I always look at it the perspective that if you can get back to them, it's good. But I have been in that position where you do put the job out there and you do get a bunch of art tests you have to look at, and it's sometimes tough to get back to everybody. And I've actually had situations where you get art tests and you look at them, but all you're doing is actually looking at the test. You don't really know the person unless they specifically watermark their images with their name and their email address, and possibly a link to their portfolio or something. Just so in every one of the images, because somebody, maybe HR was the one that gets all the job emails, and they just show us the art and say, "What do you think about this guy?" And you don't necessarily have his contact information. Possibly you get the resume.
Excellent point.
You probably get the resume. Come to think of it, but there's times where you're just looking over a stack of art.
You're not going to remember a resume and be able to mentally link that to art.
Yeah, I was going to say, if you look at a resume, you're like, okay, this guy sounds good over here, but if you don't have some sort of connection with the art and the resume, then you don't know. You might not mentally, the mental connection of that too.
Just have your name and contact information of the corner of each piece, and then...
That's what I do.
Yes.
Yeah, that sounds...
It'd be dope if you did that, and like your printable version of your resume just had like a few little images used, like thumbnails from your art, but used kind of a background sort of header kind of something.
Well, honestly, that would waste ink and waste a lot of space in your resume. Like, if I saw that, I would not be that much into it. Like, even no matter how experienced you are, your resume should never be longer than 2 pages. And yet, sometimes the longer you're in the industry, the more you have to fight to keep that in there. Like, if it's a web-based resume and you have like images of like the titles you worked on, that's cool. But the printable version should be just text only. It's
printable, like a doc file, text file. Ooh.
Yeah.
I'm gonna roll up a notepad file. Boom.
Really?
I wrote this in crayon, motherfuckers.
Yeah.
Mine's totally opposite. Mine's very image heavy, but
I made my whole portfolio out of MS Paint. That'd be dope.
That would be cool. Nice pixel art portfolio.
Your entire portfolio is photographs of your monitor that you then paint over and remake with MS Paint.
All right.
Hardcore.
Yeah.
Intense.
I would kind of see it the way that Jesse said that he does it. It's like since you're an artist, you'd want to make it like pretty artistic, I assume. I mean, I understand that the black and white just text version of a resume seems nice, but I mean, I figured you'd want some color in there.
It would be good if you could come up with some sort of branding, I guess. Maybe like a little logo or a certain word. I don't know.
See, branding isn't bad, but I mean, most printers are going to be black and white. They're not going to print out color. It's going to muddy up everything. Your portfolio is for images and color. Your resume is just like purely a data sheet, which is mostly looked at by HR. They're not going to care about images or really that much branding.
Oh, I guess I was
the only time.
Look at this asshole put all these pictures in here.
Yeah.
The only time an art director or somebody in that kind of position realistically is ever going to look at your resume is when you've already been chosen for your portfolio to get an interview. And even then, their eyes are going to get on it that late. It's not going to be that much of a differentiator. Like, I mean, that's just my opinion. I keep resumes pretty vanilla.
Yeah, I do the same. I like a nice tight resume. So, yeah.
How do I zoom in? I just screenshot mine.
Let's see here.
How do I zoom in?
Control plus. Wait.
There you go. So like this is my old one. I'm redesigning mine, but
it's kind of
your name
tough.
Is Jesus?
Mm-hmm. Jesus. Juan.
It's like everything in the games that I got. But yeah, I have 3, but I do agree trying to keep it as short as possible.
For those without the benefit of video, the audio ones, Jesse's showing his resume right now.
He's got a big naked chick.
And yeah, on the left side, there's a wireframe. The full length of the page is a wireframe of a naked chick, and he has the pictures of the game boxes.
Yeah,
next to the titles he shipped.
I actually redid the design a lot more efficiently for one of my friends who just got laid off from Terminal, so I'm gonna adopt that one. But this one.
And you're saying this is your old one. This is your old one, right?
Yeah, this is my old one. This is the one that I used to get into King's Isle.
That was updated. What is that? 2008.
Damn.
No, this one was 2010 or something.
Oh, okay. Well, it's not too old then.
2011.
Pretty nice.
My resume is gonna be like under 10 words.
Under 10 words.
It's gonna be like please hire me.
Be just like a Twitter post.
Yeah.
It's Bryan with a Y, an M, 2 C's, 2 N's, 2 L's. Hire me.
It's pretty good. Pretty good.
The end. I love you.
So my longest layoff was 9 months. Again, that's less than Lee's year. But I was kind of in one of those positions where I had a pretty nice severance, pretty good layoff package, all that kind of stuff. So I was going to be all right for a while. It saved my money. And I had been working really hard and just wanted to take a break. So I had the position. I had enough money saved to live for, pay rent for quite a while. And with my lifestyle, it's very minimalistic anyway. I'm like, oh, well, what I want to do for fun, I'll take a walk. That doesn't cost very much.
Yeah.
And yeah, that's pretty much just took it easy. Spent a long time really trying to find the right job, which felt good because it was one of the first times where I really had a lot of time to apply around quite a bit and find the place that was right for me.
And that's healthy. That's why savings is important.
It was very healthy. Just to take that time off, man.
Did you just work on personal art?
Yeah. Oh, I never stopped doing art. I was
yeah.
constantly working on art, and I got to catch up on so many video games. It was great. I was like, oh man, finally I could play all these damn games on Steam. Oh, another Steam sale? No.
I have to admit though, being laid off, going to the mailbox was the most exciting thing in the world.
Yeah, mail becomes cool again.
Yeah.
Wow, I'm actually outside.
I think the longest I'd ever been unemployed was when I quit Mumbo Jumbo. It was about 2 weeks.
2 weeks.
I went to a terminal.
Yeah. I usually haven't had that many long ones. I think I did have a 6-month one before where it was after the contract. Remember we did Nano Legends?
Yeah.
John? After the contract from that, it was one of those situations where it's just, I was living in Denver, out here in Colorado. It was nice. I was right near Wash Park, which is this huge, amazing park. It was summer. So I had just 6 months to chill out. Then landed over at Mythic, which is, again, it was a great job. So made sure to get a nice spot. I take my time to pick a nice spot, but that's awesome. I was in the right situation at the right. Everything was right. So that's very situational. You're lucky if you were able to, have enough money in the bank just to pay some rent and chill out. But
see, that's why savings is important, because that can be a really good, positive, healthy experience. The longest I ever went between jobs after a layoff was 1 month between NCSoft and 2K, and then after that, I just had to get the fuck out of Vigil. I took off 3 months just to hang out, chill, just do whatever the hell. Then started getting contracts again. Toward the end of last year, I made enough money from one contract where I just took off another couple months just because fuck it. And then now I'm back at it, working really hard. I'm going to try and maybe take another month or 2 or 3 off at the end of this year, just because I've been stockpiling money. I live fairly minimally. I spend money on good food and good beer and then just pocket the rest. And I'm at the point where, it's fucking healthy to just take time off and just be able to have that free time during the day, know that you're not in any kind of crazy money crunch, and just, go out, see the sunshine, smell the flowers. Go
I spent a summer in Europe to find myself.
One of my plans for the next couple of years is actually to spend a couple months in Paris just working from there. Because fuck it.
You can do it, right?
Yeah.
How long can you technically just go somewhere before they're?
That's a good question.
Before they're like, hey, wait a minute, you need a citizenship or a passport or update or something.
Japan is 3 months.
Do what?
Canada?
I said Japan is 3 months.
Japan? And then how long do you have to wait before you can come back? Will you like get on a plane?
It is, I think, 1 day.
Oh yeah, no big deal.
Yeah, you just have to leave the country for a day, and when you come back, it resets. At least that's the way the guy explained it to me.
Yeah, it depends a lot on the country and like the like visitors visas and stuff.
Like,
like
right,
when I went to Shanghai, I got 1 year, but it took 30 days to get that, and I had to explain why I was there, what I was doing. But my girlfriend, so I was there for business. My girlfriend went just like she went on just like a visitor's tourist pleasure visa or whatever. She got a year as well. It really varies by the country. I don't know if European countries. I've never had to get a visa to go to a European country to visit, so that's never really been an issue there.
To visit.
But
that
actually is a really good question. Yeah.
Just get a passport. Yeah, good to go.
I'm curious about that.
Yeah,
You should always have a passport. You should always have it ready, and you can't just go get a passport.
Mine is in my backpack. I take it wherever I go.
Don't think
plan at
you're
least-
going. Oh, I'm just gonna go pick up a passport. And go, hey,
What would you say? At least 2 months in advance?
Oh, you want to have plenty. Just
it's
get
gonna be
it.
a lot.
Just have it.
If you don't have a passport, just fucking get one.
Yeah.
You can
was a
expedite
couple
it,
years.
but it's still. If someone says every time, I think, when I got my passport, we're just talking to the guys like, oh yeah, we're going to Mexico in several months down the road, which is a very well planned out trip. And the guy's like, oh yeah, people come in all the time. He's like, just this week, this lady came in and said, oh, I'm going to Europe tomorrow. It's like, no, you're not.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, it takes absolute best case 2 weeks to get a passport, and that's if. So I think in Texas at least, it's like $90 to get a passport, and then another like 120 to get expedited, which is 2 weeks. Otherwise, it's 4 weeks. But I got a passport before I needed it, like 2 years before I even did anything with it, and I ended up getting it in 2 weeks just because there's no big rush. I just happened to get it, and then I just stock it away. Honestly, just having a passport in general is a great thing to have. If you don't have
another
one,
form
just
of
fucking
ID.
get one.
It's a normal, official ID. You got it. Good to go.
Yeah, and that's the only form of federal ID that is acceptable in all states. Like Texas has a law where you can't buy alcohol unless you have in many places unless you have a Texas state issued state ID. But if you show a passport, it's legit. They can't. It is literally illegal to reject a federal form of identification, which is a passport.
Bring my passport if I ever go to Texas. It's like another country. But yeah, well, I mean, once you got the passport, you're good to travel, and things go sour. You get a nice severance. You drop $1,000 on a plane anywhere.
Yep.
Probably cheaper than that.
Unless they're locking people down at the border, and
one of those deals.
And John McCain's shock troops come in.
Yeah, you're probably not going to get into like Pakistan or something. Real easy.
Yeah, that's a harder one.
But yeah, you can go, Amsterdam, Mexico, somewhere in South America. Canada's great.
And you can even get into like Cuba or places like that if you go to if you fly into a friendly country and then transfer from there and don't get them to stamp your passport. That's the trick. If you get a Cuba passport stamp and you come back to the U.S. and they see it, from what I understand, you can actually get in trouble for that. But there's some countries that will not stamp your passport if you're connecting to Cuba. That's the way to get there.
Huzzah.
Huh.
The word's out. You just Google that and you find the same thing. Yeah,
I wouldn't understand why that would really matter, but I guess it's a lot deeper than
it's a weird thing. It's like, who's that baseball coach that was just suspended for saying something positive about Cuba? It's like, it's just
Fidel Castro.
Yeah, it's a silly thing. Yeah, I don't understand. It's like, whatever. It's a, whoa, Jesse just exploded.
Oh, I thought that was my cat. Sorry.
So, speaking of Cuba, layoffs.
Yeah. So I mean, yeah, the worst I could see. I've known plenty of guys that they did that thing. They lived check to check. They didn't have stuff together. They didn't have side projects at home. Or on the other hand, we were on a project that had a certain either style or technical limitation that so what was up to date and the companies that would be hiring, their skill set was dated. They weren't prepared, I mean, as soon as something comes out, I mean, you gotta keep up, like UDK and CryEngine. You gotta understand what these features are that are going to be in every game from now on.
Just look at other companies, other games, what they're doing. Like, there's no, the one thing I want all game developers to know is there's no such thing as stability. You'll get a steady paycheck for a while until you don't. There's no such thing as stability. Always be prepared. Always look out for yourself, and don't be so loyal to your company that you're not going to do what's best for yourself.
Yeah. It's the same as nature. Hey, there could be an earthquake tomorrow. California, gone into the ocean.
So, and that doesn't Arizona Bay, and that doesn't mean you can't be loyal to your company. You can't love your company or your project. It's not you being like an asshole that has no faith. It's you taking care of yourself and your life, and not putting responsibility for your life and well-being and health and family in other people's hands.
Because that's a
throw you
weird
under the bus as soon as they can't pay you.
That's a weird stigma. That's the perspective before the act, but afterwards the perspective is, "Why the fuck weren't you ready, idiot?"
Yep.
The stigma is like, isn't that weird? It goes both ways.
Yeah. And see, okay, if you see a layoff coming, for the love of God, you do not want to be one of however many people were laid off at your company looking for a job at the same time.
In the same area as well, most likely.
Oh, like when a company has a layoff. Well,
like, do you want to be like the one guy that sees the signs? Is at least okay, if you get an offer, you don't have to accept it. If you're out looking around, if you think there's immediate danger, you can talk to people, and that's not a bad thing. You don't have to accept an offer. But would you rather be one of 100 people looking for a job in the same place in the same area competing for the same shit? Or would you rather be the one guy that sees it coming and is ready and has an offer in hand when the shit goes down?
Hey, that was me. I took
off.
I took off about 8 months or 9 months before Terminal started laying everyone off because I saw exactly what was going to happen. And so I decided to protect myself and leave a company that was very dear to me. And it was just one of the hardest decisions I made. When I went and told the owner, I pretty much broke down into tears because they were family. But I had to take care of myself. And I wasn't going to wait around until I was going to, be left without a job. As much as the guys there at TRI really didn't want to lay anyone off, it happened. And I protected myself and I found another job. And I was like, well, all right.
They have to respect that.
I saw the writing on the wall, and it just everything was not working the way it should in my brain, and I left.
Jesse, that is fucking ideal.
Yeah.
But granted, you have the sense, you have the intuition to be able to know really on a deep level when things are crazy and when things aren't. It's easy to with all the advice that that we're all giving about this is what to look for, this is when shit's gonna get fucked up, these things to look for. It's easy, it's entirely possible you could be wrong or you could be making a mountain out of a molehill, but at least err on the side of protecting yourself rather than risking being caught unaware.
Yeah, I really agree with that, and that's someone even I think it was Jack Choi or whatever posted on Polycount today. He's like, man, you've been really accurate with this stuff, and it sucks. I do probably have a better record than Pratchett, but I hate that it's over the fact that, of studios closing down and people getting laid off. But a lot of it really is just common sense. I mean, it's all there for you. You just have to see the signs and be willing to take a step back, as John said earlier, and ask yourself the tough questions. Is this game good enough? Is this game going to sell? What's going to happen if we don't sell? Do we have money in the bank? You can go and talk to your heads up. What's the contingency plan if this game does not sell? And if they're like, oh, don't worry, it's going to sell, then hey, they're not telling you everything, and you really have to be careful about all that stuff.
Yeah, but just sort of to be kind of like devil's advocate. They're never going to tell you the truth about shit. That's actually that's part of the reason for the entire production layer of management. When I worked at one company, we had our entire project budget cut by $5 million at one point. It was a fairly large budget project, but it was cut by $5 million. But if the people below the production level knew that, if the people on the ground knew that, that would seem completely fucking terrifying. On the production level, we'd planned for $7 million being cut. We'd already planned and scoped the project to the point where we didn't need that money. We knew where we were going to spend it and how to make the game better if it needed to be, but we planned for a certain amount of it to be cut because we kind of figured there would be. So that kind of thing is actually
some smart planning.
That's the kind of planning that happens at that layer, at that level of management. But they're never going to tell the people that working below that because really big numbers are scary. And a lot of things can seem absolutely fucking terrifying. So, and that's sort of the devil's advocate point of that. And by the same token, you knew the student management, you trusted them, and you're able to talk to them and be pretty frank. And you can, I think with the right kind of studio management, the right kind of ability to sort of figure out how people work and how people are, you can understand whether or not they're telling you the truth, or if whatever they're saying has the ring of truth to it, if they're really, straight, honest, and realistic about it. There's some things that you can, there's something that I don't think everybody should know everything about a project. I think there's some things
that's not for everybody. Some people just, when you tell them certain things, mentally they don't need that in their brain screwing with them.
That's what producers worry about.
Yeah. Some people they don't need that. Other people can handle it and be like, all right, whatever, let's do it.
But you can never predict that. Like, what if? So, like, the worst case is so budget's cut by $5 million. If you tell everybody at the company, let's say the most important guy at the company, one of the most productive people, hears that, freaks out, and leaves, and that ends up really hurting the project to a great degree. That's a kind of risk mitigation.
Even though that $5 million doesn't really change his, it might not affect him at all.
Yeah, exactly.
It could be, it's $5 million, but okay, you got 100 people, split all their salaries up. That's there's so many factors and considerations that go into that. But honestly, I feel like the information you're going to get from the inside of a company is going to be skewed and biased one way or the other. That's why finding as many external sources as possible is good. So, like, how's your publisher's stock doing? What are your publisher's other games? Are they competing with you? What are the competing publishers' games that will be competing directly with your title? Same genre, same whatever. Like, are you competing against Call of Duty? When are those games going to come out? Is my game Call of Duty level? 99 times out of 100, no, it is not. Is it going to be released against Call of Duty? Yes. That's going to be a problem. Yeah, like, that's the kind of thing. Are we hitting our deadlines? Are we meeting our milestones?
Exactly. Like, see, I feel like that is a slightly more objective source of information, being able to understand, like, trouble coming down the road.
Yeah.
Like, if you're missing your milestones, if you're fucking up, if you have a completely fucked game, those could be signs that bad things are going to come down the road.
If you're making a slightly derived, sort of mediocre game, and you're missing milestones, there's a chance the publisher could come in any day and pull the plug on that.
Exactly.
And that's what a lot of people don't understand, which is weird. It's always... never read comments, because comments are, if you do the opposite of what people post on the internet, you're probably going to get everything right. I don't mean that, like, say, on Polycount for, like, feedback, but I mean, like YouTube or Kotaku comments, you know what I mean?
And
like that kind of stuff. Like regular people news. Like, where they don't understand when a game... They're like, oh, these guys are doing DLC. They're thinking about DLC, and the game's not even shipped. Idiots, someone wants to focus on the games. Like, well, you have a business plan that when you don't go, I'm going to make a game, and then you have nothing planned after that. You plan things for years down the road. And sometimes when games are actually really, really shitty, but they've released some screenshots that look cool, and then people are like, well, they shut this down. This game looked great. It would have been awesome. No, it actually really sucked, and they had to stop it.
Yeah,
or sometimes,
quarterbacks.
And plenty of times the game actually could have been good, but they just didn't have what they needed. What's worse is when a game is really good, but doesn't have the funds to be what it should be. So even if they released it, it wouldn't be good. It would be like, buggy or too ambitious. Yeah. Something along those lines. So it's when those games don't get released, it's kind of better. But
yeah, you
never know why it's happening.
From the outside looking in, it's really hard to tell. That's why my whole angle is, like, just try and read things from within the studio as objectively as possible. Like, if you're missing dates, this and that, game looks fucked. If you're coming up on release and it's clear nothing's going to work, measure that against everything you find out externally. Because honestly, more often than not, the external financial stuff, the finances are really what's going to fuck your game. If your publisher's doing badly, if you're releasing the same day as, like, a big AAA blockbuster, just shit like that.
We're releasing the same day as Diablo 3.
Oh, yeah, exactly. Yeah, no one's going to win.
Yeah, sorry about that.
Hold on, I'm going to take this time to bow out my friends here. So,
all right.
It was good talking.
Thanks for joining us, Jesse.
See you, Jesse.
I'll talk to you all later.
Take care, dude. +1, -1.
That was weird.
Yeah, he was really quiet.
Well, what, you mean him the whole time?
Yeah.
He was working on his portfolio mostly.
Yeah, true.
He was just here for fun.
That's cool.
He knew John's here. He's got the hot angle on everything.
Yeah.
Daw. Blush.
This is a really depressing podcast.
Well, it's one of those things.
But it's reality, so...
The idea is to find the positives or to plan so that you can have a positive result from something that could be devastating
That's the only
or bad
reason
for someone
I've
else.
been quiet. It's just because it's just...
Oh, yeah.
I don't have much input anyways, but...
It was
I'm
funny.
just
It was funny you were talking
absorbing that.
about the whole project thing because when I was on Our Victory, we were told to make. Well, the publisher gave us a direction and we went with it, and then we made a game with it, and then they looked at it and they were like, "Oh, you know what? We paid you to make Call of Duty, and then we had to make another game which came out in such a short period of time." So. Yeah, so those kind of things do happen, sadly.
It is really sad. I mean, honestly, so the average developer is not really going to have that much of a direct influence on whether or not these things are going to work or really be successful. It's fucking depressing. Like, honestly, like, layoffs hurt people. Layoffs hurt me. They piss me off. They irritate me. I'm at the point now where I'm able to read information pretty well and understand and guess kind of where things are going to happen based on things I've seen in the news, places I read, people I talk to, this and that, and just being completely brutally honest about the companies I'm working for. Like, there's no way this project is going to ship or be successful. But it takes a lot of brutal honesty to be able to truly take care of yourself and do what's best for you.
Well, you can't hold on to emotions.
I preach about
it. I mean,
yeah,
everything's cyclical, right? History repeats itself. If you don't look for the patterns, you're not going to be prepared.
Exactly, and there's so much information out there, and everything is ultimately a crapshoot. The best you can do is just arm yourself with as much information as possible. And this is a total blog plug again, but just on my website, johnjones.com, I have that list of things I look for to be able to anticipate layoffs. And these are things I would like more people to be able to know and see, because I don't like people getting laid off. I don't like people getting surprised. I like people being employed, doing what they love to do, working on cool shit and being happy, but ultimately taking care of themselves, taking responsibility for themselves and their careers, and not trusting other people or a company to take care of them for them. But then again, I'm an extreme example of like the whole mercenary mindset of it.
Mercenary. Yeah, I mean, I agree. When I'm on johnjones.com, this is usually after I've been to crunchstudios.com, which was linked off of Explosions and Rainbows. So, that's the kind of browsing I do.
Which is linked off of Brian McDonald, Hot Sexy Man, whoever.
.gov.
Yeah. I mean, after that I usually like to check chrisholden.net to make sure my site's still up.
Or 3wasabi.com.
Yeah. And then my side project, lemonparty.org.
What's that Game Pitches site?
Actually, random fun thing. I brought on a social media firm to help me start pimping out my website and game pitches a lot more this week. So that shit's going to be pretty cool. It's getting more articles out there, getting more pitches up and online.
Did you buy 1,000 YouTube likes?
I haven't gone that far yet.
You can do that?
Yeah, there's well, that's the weird thing about it is there's companies out there that you can invest a little money in, and they give you all kinds of social media services. They can, I'm pretty sure there's like friends on Facebook and
like Facebook prostitutes. That's awesome.
Like likes on YouTube, subscribes on YouTube, views on YouTube. You can buy stuff. You can buy followers on Twitter, probably. I mean, there's all kinds of services. It's kind of like it's like buying gold in games. Yeah. There's this whole virtual market out there now. You can sell all this kind of crazy stuff. It's pretty ridiculous. I'll tell you, buying gear is pretty cool.
If anybody wants to be my Facebook friend, just send me a couple bucks.
Send me a couple. Put $1 in an envelope. Send it to P.O. Box, yeah. One of those things.
What a cocky thing to say.
It said $1. Well, it's like the Homer Simpson thing. It's like, Remember he got the phone dialing machine, and he was saying to,
Oh yeah.
this is happy dude. He's like, send $1 for to feel happy, and he got in trouble anyway. Sorry about that. Oh,
No, this was a good episode. I was just sitting here absorbing all the information.
Oh, sure.
This was pretty good.
There's one thing I want to throw in there, and I'd like John to get back before I throw this final advice / question.
Oh, and
Because
also
I know
never,
what's that?
also never go to beer night looking for a job because John Jones will hunt you down.
Beer night for a job.
Just be cool. That's the only thing.
Be cool, bro.
No, we've had like
Don't be
15 or
desperate.
20 jobs come out of beer night.
Yes, we have. Yeah, I think that's actually out of all the places I've lived, I would have to say that Austin is definitely the most well connected for game developers to meet other game developers.
Yeah, that's just straight networking right there.
Yeah.
Yep.
It's nothing more than that.
Yep.
It's networking, but you're also having a good time because it's beer night. What the hell? You're
Right.
hanging out with a bunch of like-minded individuals. That's
Texas
the best thing ever.
Texas seems like the country to be.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Bring your passport.
We may secede. You never know.
Yeah, that actually made me reminded me of one other thing. Stay active. One way to survive a layoff is to be active online. If you're regular, like on Polycount, man, if you're one of those people that's I can't say this word regularly. Can't say regularly. Thanks, made it. You guys hung in there. That was good.
Congratulations.
You held me up. You
Achievement
kept,
unlocked.
You kept me
but
strong.
I see
Kept
what
me
you're
strong.
saying because there's.
Yeah, if you're active, if you're online, people know you, and they know that you're dedicated, passionate, good, possibly.
They know that you're still alive.
You know you're around. They know you're looking for it, and if you can be involved enough in these game art communities, when you need a job, you just post a thread like, "Hey, I'm looking for work," and then everybody's just trying to help you out.
Yeah,
Exactly.
That's really what the community does. I mean, shit.
There was a time
Dude,
when I was.
I don't even have to say all the times that I've done these things.
I don't know if it's cabin fever or what, but there was a time when I was working on my portfolio and
Were you at home all the time alone?
I was just home alone.
Yeah, because this is the point I was talking about where I was waiting for John to get back about being laid off is going crazy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm glad I had my dog there. Like my girlfriend's dog
helped
was
you
there.
out, yeah.
But
And John would be good on this because I know he's done a lot of freelance where he's just not. You're not necessarily in an office, so any sort of socializing you do, you actually have to bring it upon yourself to go out and do it. When you're in an
you have
office,
to try.
yes, when you're in an office, you have to deal with people all the time. So because you have to get up at a certain time, go somewhere, so everybody that you run into from A to B, and then your work day, everybody you run into there, then everything in between, and there's so many times where you have to interact with people. But if you're just working from home, or you're laid off and you're just sitting at home, you could stay at home all day.
yeah,
It's great.
and you're not gonna have money to go out and eat.
Yeah, and you don't have to deal with anybody
Yeah.
all day. Sweet.
And you can go crazy.
But yeah,
Like,
that's the problem.
Is that what cabin fever is?
That's pretty much what cabin fever is.
Okay.
Yep. You go freaking nuts. Like the first few months I was freelancing, I spent all my time at home alone. I was living with a girl at the time, and so she'd go out to work, and it'd just be me and my 2 cats inside all day, and that's all that I would do. I wouldn't really go out. I wouldn't really do anything.
Yeah.
And I realized I spent more time talking to my cats than I was other human beings online or in person.
Yeah.
This is why, like, the beer night thing that I run, it's good for me. It's good for people. Go
It's
out,
healthy.
just be in a like human beings are social creatures. Some people can like be totally fine just being kind of out on their own, doing nothing, not talking to anybody. But if you're looking for a job, that's the worst position you can possibly be in.
Right. Oh,
Just,
God.
I mean, it's not even like it's a big thing to ask you to go out and be with people and be social, or just be involved in network in like forums online. Just be out, be present, and just be cool. Be a part of these communities. It'll make it so much easier when you're not in a layoff situation. Like, okay, so in 2.5 years, out of the, I guess like 20-ish clients I've had, every single one has been a referral from somebody I knew because I'm out there, I'm social, and I talk to people, and I have a presence. I socialize. That's been the number one thing in my entire career. Like, I don't even. In many parts of my career, I've had like shit going on or not 100% like effectiveness, like personal, just whatever. But I have those connections with people that I talk to, that I'm a part of, like communities I'm a part of, that will rise up, help me when I'm not feeling at my best necessarily, help me get in some place where I can get my head back in the game, get back up to 100%, and really get to where I'm doing my best. Versus, I'd been fucked if I was starting from zero and had nobody and nothing and was feeling like shit. It'd be the hardest thing in the world for me to get out there, create a presence, and be compelling enough for anybody to give the time of day to.
Oh yeah, I mean, I think I've tried my best to try to help you in situations plenty of times. I think every job I've been at, I've tried to get you in there. Especially when it comes to outsourcing, because it's just one of those reliability things. It's like, well, I know he's gonna do something.
Yeah.
And I mean, I've wanted to get you in every place that I am, but you tend to land at companies where you're really happy and do well for a long period of time.
There's been plenty of times where John has offered me work, and I mean, we have I've worked for you, and you've worked. I would say with me, not for me.
I've worked. I'd say I've worked for you.
Technically, yeah, I guess. But I'm a team player.
You guys are so.
So I say with.
What goes around comes around. Like, actually, one of the best experiences of my life, one of the coolest things I've ever been able to do was when I was on Dungeon Runners at NCSoft. I was running my own art team. I got to work with you. I got to work with Tracy Hunt, and I got to work with Joel, my very first boss in games.
Yeah.
Like you three got to work with me, I guess technically for me, but I'd see this with me on a project I was really passionate about and really into, and I got kick-ass work out of all of you. And we all got to work together again, and all the good things that you guys ever did, like for me to help me move forward. I was able to, in my way, kind of pay it back, bring all of you in, and do cool shit together all over again. That was fucking amazing. That was one of the greatest experiences of my life. It's just friends work.
I was gonna say I don't even know Joel, but he seems like a really cool guy because he was the one that you were telling me about.
I don't know. Nah, he's all right. I never refer to a game developer buddy like, oh, that guy's cool.
That guy's so cool.
He's a nerd. He's a nerd just like me.
Yeah.
That's more. I just don't like to use that word, I guess.
Anyways,
I love Joel. So Joel doesn't work in games anymore, but I hit him up about every few months. We'll chat on the phone or online or whatever.
He was my boss for like 5 years.
He's one of those passionate people I've ever met. Super cool dude. Oh, there went Lee.
He disappeared before. He'll come back or not.
Okay. Lee's just like, fuck Joel. I don't know him.
Yeah. I hate this guy. He's like, I didn't like gore.
We should do our goodbye.
Dungeon Runners, they shut the servers down too quick. I'm pissed.
We should do our goodbye right now, and then when he comes back on, he'll think we're recording, but we're not recording. We'll just talk a whole bunch of like crazy shit that you wouldn't say, or I don't know.
Yeah.
Play some.
Actually,
it just gets really anti-Semitic.
Actually, that's where I was going to go with it too. It's like, this thing about this social group or this ethnic group that really pisses me off.
Yeah. The people from blank really terribly.
It's like those fucking Norwegians.
Oh shit.
That's pretty much.
This is actually this is a slightly more saucy subject, but like Norwegians, I know nothing about them. Everybody I've ever met from Norway and from all those countries, Scandinavian countries, have been wonderful people. But I came up with a word that is such a perfect racial slur for Norwegians. There's absolutely nothing behind it. I literally cannot even point to a single thing that is not to like about Norwegians, but the word is so perfect. I'm trying to like push it forward as a racial slur. They're referring to a Norwegian. Just, oh, you fucking weej. Weej. Weej.
Yeah, weej is a word that sounds kind of like a slur.
I think I've heard that before,
isn't it?
But it was.
Yeah, it has that sound, especially when you say like weej. It sounds like something like, oh man.
Exactly.
I feel bad saying it. Like I feel like it already is a slur for somebody. There's like a group of people somewhere in Sudan that are like pissed off.
Dude, I invented that word, and like I said, I mean, I've never felt so strongly about a word I've invented in my life. It's just sad that it's a racial slur, but based on nothing, so it's okay.
It's not a real. It's like a fantasy racial slur.
Yeah, it's fucking weej. They're really friendly. They have a great economy. They're really high on the global happiness index. They're
I'm pretty
really
sure I've listened to
resistant
Norwegian
to
metal.
cold. Like if they were characters in RPG, they would have like plus 50 cold resistance. Fucking weege.
Yeah.
I'm glad no one watches the CrunchCast this far.
One of the things that I like the most about it is like all our fans that are over there in Europe, because they make so much great metal that comes out of Sweden and Finland and Poland. That's Behemoth. Oh man, so much great metal comes out of there. Anyway, back to that whole cabin feverish crazy talk. Back when we were doing Nano Legends, I had a roommate, but halfway through development, he moved on. So, we're just getting like heavy wind from you, John, I think. Or maybe somebody else. No, that was you. That was you, and you're smoking your cigarettes. Dude, it is 2012.
The world's going to end December anyway. Who cares?
Why? Yeah, you got a good point. So yeah, I had a roommate. He moved out. So I had like several months, just this whole big apartment by myself. And yeah, I had moments where I was kind of worried I was getting crazy. I'm like, man, I'm going to get crazy if I don't get out and start doing things. And you got to have a buddy. You got to have a friend. Make a friend local.
Yeah.
Start going out, do some dinners,
especially
go to
with
bars
imaginations
or something.
like ours.
Oh yeah, our imagination. We get so deep into our own heads.
Yeah.
We're thinking about art and crazy stuff. We get crazy. You know.
It's so easy to get nuts. And actually, I have one. Well, it's related to cabin fever, but it's a way to keep yourself sane within your own home. Since I've been freelancing, one thing I learned was you have to have a separate space for work and for play. So I have a one-bedroom apartment. I keep it really tiny, really lean. My bedroom is my office. I don't even have a bed in there. The only thing I do in there is work. When I'm in the living room, I play video games. I bring out my laptop. I do everything on my laptop. I do stuff on my laptop, and that's where all my leisure stuff happens. When I'm
You're
in my
basically
office,
saying you have separate stations.
Yeah.
Exactly. Because if I'm playing in my office, then it's going to be too easy to be tempted to go and play a game or dick around on Reddit or whatever. So I only work in there. But if I'm in the living room, I try and work in here. I'm going to feel like when I'm trying to play that I should be at work, like I'm always at work. So it's just like two sides of the same coin. I'm always either at work or I'm always trying to work, but I'm tempted to play. Having two completely different spaces within your own space that are only for one specific thing and you never intermix them, that is what helped keep me relatively sane.
Yeah.
If that's all you ever really do, if you're spending that much time at home.
If you're able to, I would even take it one step further and have your bedroom completely separate. So
I kind of have a similar setup to what John's saying, but my bedroom is like my bedroom, and then I have like my little computer desk. I have it very separate. My bedroom, all it is just my clothes and bed. I have a TV in there, but there's nothing hooked up to it right now, so it doesn't do it. It just sits there collecting dust.
Even if you have to separate it off with curtains or something, that would be better than nothing. And it's kind of amazing how little things like that will freak with your mind a little bit. Like the light bulb above my desk at work has been out for a couple weeks now, and I'm just now starting to feel the effects of it.
Getting depression, seasonal depression.
Because I'm in this little corner by myself. Luckily,
you got a window.
Yeah, luckily I have a window, but it's been raining these last couple days, and I don't know.
And the new hire that sits next to you is really quiet.
I just look over at Chris, and he's working away, and a tear just rolls down my face.
But
it's weird. I look to the right. If I look to the right at work, I see Bryan.
Yeah.
Of course, we got a new guy, a new programmer, Curtis. A guy actually.
He's just always in the way between Chris and I looking at each other.
It's kind of cool. He's a total professional.
He is very. He does seem
programmer.
Very professional.
He doesn't make any noise. Dresses fine. Like business casual. Is quiet. Does his job. But he's really informative and can chime in at the right moments when advice is needed on the project he's doing. He's just one of those guys. The weird thing about it is we hired him kind of because I knew him, but I mean it helped that I knew him, but he was pretty much would have had the job anyway. He's good. I started it at Jaleco 10 years ago.
Oh my God, you're old.
And that's when I worked with the guy. That's when I worked with him. It seems weird to think, and I haven't even kind of brought this conversation up to him before. I mean, we know we both worked together before, but I just want to bring it up. It was like 10 years ago when I first started. It's like, damn. Now we're here again, sitting right next to each other. After just not saying anything to either one of each other for like, all this time. Just not really, never really kept in contact. But I knew he was there.
Yeah.
I knew he did his job. And I knew no one ever had anything bad to say about him. So I figured he's probably pretty good.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like when there's somebody that's like, there's a lot of people that are really quiet. And they don't, like I said, they don't get out with the social stuff. They don't make a lot of waves. They don't, they don't let themselves be known. But it's good to remember those guys. I've worked with plenty of guys who are just quiet guys, and they're not going to adhere to a lot of this advice we gave about, being social, getting on these social, posting your art on art communities, going out to beer nights and stuff. Possibly, a lot of these people are family men.
Yeah.
Like they have a family, and that's what they're thinking about. They got to do their job. They got to get their money. They got to take care of their kids.
There's nothing wrong with that.
Yeah, it's a totally different philosophy that a lot of this advice won't really help as much, but I mean, hopefully it can be, translated.
Yeah, I mean, like we're coming from the perspective of being really socially active, chatty bitches, and this is what's worked for us. I mean, different things are going to work better for different people.
I feel like those types,
in our experience, it helps.
Right. I feel like those guys are like family men. When people know them, those are the kind of guys that those are the guys, like I said, I remembered him. And when someone brought up, hey, do you remember this guy? I immediately remembered him, even though he was a quiet guy. But because I remember him just doing a good job and not making any waves, in the sense that if somebody is screwing around, you're going to hear about it. You're like, oh, this guy, he's really quiet. He's a screw around. But I've known plenty of guys, especially artists, that just like don't say anything. Just come in, do their job, and go home to their kids. But they're amazing.
Mm-hmm.
And I mean, like talent speaks volumes.
Right. And that's what I remember.
Never talks. It's just like his code compiles.
Yeah.
That's like a glowing recommendation.
Yeah.
But still, I mean, you can. It's always a benefit just to get along with your coworkers. At the very least, just get along with your coworkers. Just be friendly. Go to lunch with them every once in a while, and just give them a reason to have like a mental entry for you, even if it's not a lot. Just like. Hey, had a beer together. He had good work. Cool, sure. And then, but like at that point, I feel like it's actually, I guess it's the same thing. It's just as dependent on references, knowing people, and people being able to vouch for you to get in places. Like I've never gotten a job from a cold call. I've never gotten a contract from a cold call. It's all been just like people I know like recommending me or kind of putting me forward for stuff, and that's the kind of thing I try to pay forward. Especially. I used to be really quiet. This may surprise you.
No.
You know to some extent.
Sure, John was homeschooled. He didn't really have like a. You went from somebody that pretty much had very limited social interaction for a good portion of your life to somebody that went 180 degrees. I guess.
Yeah, and I try to. I mean, I try to identify that and recognize that in people.
You blossom like a flower in the spring.
It's like I've tried really hard, but I try to recognize people that are the same way that I used to be, and just to show like you can still be you, but this it's not bad to be outgoing or social or change a little bit or be a little bit different, because it can really only benefit you in positive ways. Like I'm a different person, like just in private, alone, on my own. To some extent, so I still have that. It's not like I've completely changed myself. I still have.
I've seen you sit quietly for almost an hour.
See, it's amazing. But I try to identify people that I kind of like see that sort of shyness and reticence in, and try and bring that. If I can't bring that out, then I'll recommend them up and down and work with them and do my best to recommend them for other stuff when I know they're a total badass. So, I mean, I like to think that there are people like me out there that are helping the people that aren't going to be like total social chatty bitches.
Right.
You know, I mean,
it's still something
just,
I'm getting over myself. I always feel bad when I'm just kind of walking around, just like not really paying attention to anybody, or just. But it's a weird thing. It's like going back into your own mind. Usually, if I seem like I'm in a trance and I'm sitting there or just walking around, not paying attention to anyone in the room, it's usually I'm thinking about some art I'm working on.
Mm-hmm.
You know, that's what always happens to all of us.
Like, I mean, you like outside of the CrunchCast, I mean, you are I see you as a very quiet, reserved person.
Pretty much. Except
but
when
like
I juggle.
But on this, you know, like you really bring it out.
I do what I can.
Like, I mean, you can be introverted but still have moments of extroversion and being social. It's not like...
Well, it's all about...
the gray areas.
Yeah, I think it's all about the where you're at, the position you're in. Not necessarily your job, but I mean, like, the environment is really important.
Yeah.
Like, I feel like if you're at the office, maybe, keep it keep it quiet, do what you got to do to not bother anybody and help anybody out when you can, but...
Yeah,
you don't got to be dancing around, doing cartwheels. You're not a jester.
Yeah. I was gonna say, like,
I
try to be a very social person.
Yeah.
And I was thinking today, because I was thinking about texting this girl, and I was like, Are you texting this girl because you want to text this girl, or are you texting this girl because you feel you have to text this girl? And I answered my own question with, I feel like I have to text this girl, but I don't have to text her. She doesn't need a text.
You don't need no text.
You shouldn't force things.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah,
I mean, it's good to work outside of your comfort zone, but like at a certain point, I mean, you don't really have to stop being you.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
And it's not purely
Just
introvert,
be
it's purely
yourself,
extrovert.
as long as yourself isn't beating
Total
people
douche.
up and committing crimes and breaking
Exactly,
bottles behind dumpsters and being a
See,
ruffian.
like, the best explanation I ever heard about that actually ties directly into this, but like this work-life balance, is there are three parts of your life. There's like just you, your personal life, and just like you alone, you as you. Then there's your social life, the way you go out and interact with others and everything, and then there's your work life. And trying to keep the three of those in balance is basically the best way to remain healthy. Like, you can work too much at the expense of your personal life and your social life, which really are not the same thing. Or you can be crazy about the social life and have no time to yourself, no time for work, or be all to yourself, have no time for social life or work life. You got to try to keep the three of those balanced. And to some extent, I mean, that's like, what is it? It's not duality; it's a triality or whatever. But I mean, you can still be you, but still exactly. you can still be you, but like just try and balance the other things out a little bit more and expand and develop upon different parts of your personality. This is getting some philosophical shit.
Yeah, power.
I would say I have a 3-tier topic as well, but I feel like you put personal life. I feel like that kind of lumped in everything. For me, I have to split it up into. I have to split personal into two things. Obviously you have your professional life, which is your career, your artistic ability, or your drive, whatever you want to call it. That is what you do.
Yeah.
But you also have. But the other two is a split of the personal. One being your mental health outside of your profession or career or talent, whatever you have it be, whatever you want to call it. Your art.
Your passion.
And your physical health. Which means what you're doing with your body.
Like, it's different for everybody, for sure.
Yeah.
I mean...
That's actually an excellent point. Like, everybody divides it differently.
Mm-hmm.
That's kind of how I think about it, because the way I look at it is, okay, my professional, all my art and stuff, I'm constantly doing personal projects as well, but that means I'm sitting in a chair in front of a computer for so many hours of a day. Obviously, you've got your standard 8 to 10 hour work day, which we normally work, or more.
Yeah.
And then you come home and you say, "Oh, I want to work on more art. You want to work on your personal projects," or, like I said, you work somewhere where they're doing like a lower than the highest caliber of current game art. You want to be on top of stuff, so you're constantly practicing your craft to make you better. So there's so many hours you're just destroying your body by sitting in this chair. So I always feel like there has to be that separation of like physical health, which is also a part of mental health, I guess. I mean, if you're eating right and you're exercising, you're just gonna feel better.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
Unless you injure yourself, and then you're gonna feel pretty bad.
Yeah, I can't live without sports, and I haven't been able to lift these last couple
Tendinitis
weeks because of the tendinitis, and I've been really pissed off.
Oh,
about
that
it.
sucks. Shit, dude, I'm sorry. That sucks.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
deserve it. I had to catch a
Well,
Pokemon, and
Well, you're somebody that's worked out so much.
I've lost a little bit of weight though. I'm down 10
Yeah.
pounds now.
Skinny
So,
bastard, you look like shit.
Yeah,
You need to get on the gas. You need to get on the juice.
it's improving though. I noticed actually a lot of improvement from yesterday to today, which is good. Because yesterday it was popping nonstop.
Squeezing that thing?
Yeah. Yesterday it was popping nonstop, and today it only pops a couple times. So
Well, that sounds horrible.
yeah, it does hurt a lot. Like it's surprising how something can hurt
Here's
so bad. But
here's a horrible, depressing piece of advice to go along with all this layoff stuff. Anything that's fucked up in your body at any age only gets progressively worse.
yeah,
Yeah.
Like okay, if you have an injury and you're 20, that is going to be like really bad news when you're 30. But what about 40 and 50? Oh no. It's
Like, if you don't take care of that hangnail when you're 20, it's going to be like
this looking
like-
you better get that
hand to elbow cancer.
right. It's going out of control. Point is, go to a doctor when you got benefits at a company. Go to a doctor and go to a dentist and all those. Take care of every benefit you can. Just abuse it, because when you get laid off, you lose those benefits, and then you're like, oh, my tooth was hurting and I didn't get it taken out.
shit. That's what I need
Yep.
to do.
And then, yeah, one thing I will say about
Copay.
layoffs, Cobra is actually can be really good. It's
Cobra
that's
is the health
emergency.
benefits stuff.
Yeah,
right?
the emergency health
I've been on there
benefits.
before.
It can be really expensive, but the bailouts. So when I was laid off from NCSoft, I think it was like $400 a month just for me for the most basic health insurance possible.
Oh god, yeah, health insurance is so expensive.
But after the bailouts, when I got laid off from 2K a year later, the bailouts actually subsidized a lot of the Cobra stuff. I'm not sure if that's still active, but I think it was only like $100 a month, $130 a month for me after the bailouts for to be able to maintain health insurance after I was laid off, and that was worth sticking with for a while. That was actually really,
Sometimes
really awesome.
it's really worth it. Yes.
Yeah, just read when if you get laid off, which God willing you won't, Satan willing you won't.
Satan.
If you get laid off, read all
Shiva.
the documentation and ask people. A lot of larger companies will have like a partnership with the company whose only purpose is to explain health insurance benefits and benefits in general and give you advice and guidance on stuff like that. That's really, really worth looking into and taking advantage of while you can.
Yeah. That's
'Cause it
pretty much what
sucks
I
not
call
having health
adult
insurance.
stuff.
Yeah.
Like if
Yeah.
you're really young and just got into you just got your first job, you're out of school, you got all this adult stuff you got to think about, like benefits and taxes and bills and rent and stuff. And I just wanted to ask everybody who's actually watching the video, does it look like John has a Hawaiian flower arrangement in his ear? It looks like it's just, it's behind you, and it's beautiful little flowers there. What is that?
I tried to replace like the massive number of empty beer bottles and prescription drugs with.
You make it more
with a
classy, but
flower.
what you need to shift it just a little bit, because right now it looks like it's right in your hair. But I wouldn't worry about it, because we should probably wrap this cast up. I just noticed it as being funny.
Yeah, I still have another couple hours of work to do.
Yeah,
and
well,
then
I was thinking about ending it quite a bit earlier, like 30 minutes ago, but it just
We got
kind of
some good shit.
Well, we kept rolling into those little new topics and getting things. There's so much to think about with layoffs, and again, perspective is a beast, but be prepared.
Yep. And hit johnjones.com. I have that article on it, and I'm really proud of it.
Yeah, I'm gonna put that link in the
Description?
in the description for the YouTube and the Vimeo videos.
Thank you, sir.
Obviously, I missed a bunch of links, but I tried to get a couple of them.
Yeah, we'll get to it.
I'm usually good at keeping my notepad
Was it like-
going. Every time somebody says something, a reference, I'll put it in there. But
Was that one site like detonations and prisms?
explosions and rainbows. Yeah. But I think there's a dash, so that's kind of annoying.
Detonation. I like like that.
Dude, I just checked Facebook. Lee posted the thing he was making the entire time he was here, like 5 minutes ago.
Yeah,
He didn't try to come
I
back.
kept tabbing to it. Those with the benefits of video, I would tab to it every now and again, so you could see it. But
It was
actually,
cool.
I'm gonna put his Facebook post over your face right now, and then people can see it in a really small window in a low quality video and not know at all what this is. But you can probably find it posted somewhere on some website, the internet. It's on Facebook, obviously, if you're a good pal of Lee Amarakoon. Thanks for joining us, Lee, and thanks for joining us, Jesse, and thanks for joining us, John and Brian and Chris.
Hell yeah.
Thank you. You got anything else you want to add or close us up?
No, I think we're good.
All right. Well, cool.
See you guys.
I can hit stop on. I got my audio capture and my video capture right now.
How does